Hey everybody, and welcome. This is a video I put together with my friend Raoul, my work friend. We both work on tugboat together. We decided to do this warm-up trip in preparation for the Washington WABDR, which we're going to do at the end of July. So at the time of this, it was the end of May. Really nice weather window we had to start this trip. Around the sky real quick. We met in Hoodsport, which is about a 3-hour drive for Raoul and only an hour from Port Townsend for me. So we kind of met there just as a central location and had lunch and headed up into the mountains from there. So for this trip, I'm riding my brand new Kove 450 Rally. It has only about 200 miles when we started the trip. And you can probably see, even on my dash, I have a maintenance required tag just for my first oil change, which hasn't been done yet. But big step up from my DR350, which I was building for these trips. And then Raoul is on his Honda Rally, 300L Rally, which he bought sort of as a training bike. To start learning how to ride on the gravel roads a little bit better, rather than taking his Africa twin.
You want to air down?
I got the mooses in, so
I'm going to air down mine.
yeah.
And there's another issue I have, tire gauge.
Oh, it's a lot hotter than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, I know. The map?
Yeah. So far, so good.
I can feel the sun on my back.
I know. I packed like some pretty warm clothes because I was like, you know, it's like seriously 10 degrees cooler in Port Townsend.
Oh, really?
So I was like, okay, it's going to be pretty chilly this trip, especially if it's like wet at all, you know?
Yeah.
I was not expecting the heat.
Yeah. But it was cool when it was like almost 40 back at my house.
Really?
Like 40 something, yeah.
Wow.
And then, so I brought my heated gear and then,
Don't need it.
don't need it. So I put the lowering link at the last minute just to see what it does.
Yeah.
But I need to buy me a new side stand.
I was going to say, this thing looks like it's about to fall over.
It is gonna fall over. That's as far as it'll go. So I'm gonna have to watch it when I
Yeah.
can do shit.
Ugh.
Which is fine. We're gonna make this trip before I order something else.
Ready? Oh.
So you can probably see I'm using the Roadbook, which you can purchase extra with the Griptwister tour. I used it for the first day, and it was really challenging. It was really fun to try to use, and I hope to get better at it. And I have a little Bluetooth handlebar controller to control it. But I had some issues charging it, which I've figured out now. But anyway, you'll see it ends up getting turned off later on in the trip.
We're supposed to turn back there. Looks kind of rocky.
First try.
Well, it's a good thing it wasn't the Africa Twin.
No.
Okay.
Alright. Hey.
You gonna ride it or walk it?
No, I'm gonna ride it.
Okay.
How does it get steeper?
No, it flattens out. It's just this one little spot that's rocky.
Okay. Okay. I didn't lose anything, did I?
No.
I got my Garmin in the back. Is it still hanging there?
Yeah, it's still there.
Okay.
Yeah, you got it.
Stood up. I bet I should have stood
That's
up.
funny, dude. We like went past it and I was like, oh, I'm glad we don't have to go up that.
Yeah. Hey, am I keeping you behind? I mean, am I keeping you slow and stuff?
No.
Because you can keep on going and then I'll just catch up to you.
No, I'm good, man.
Okay.
Just trying to get myself back on track here.
What's that?
So I'm just trying to get myself back on track here.
Yeah, my phone won't stay on. It keeps jumping off, like goes to sleep, and I set it for the highest setting.
Oh, really?
And it still goes off.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's all right. We're still on the right road. Okay. Yeah, we're going right.
Okay.
That's pretty fun, pretty tight.
Oh yeah, that's pretty good.
So this road, even though it's in pretty good shape, was a little bit loose and rocky in spots, but about halfway down there was a really bad washout, and I took a pretty scary skinny section next to the culvert that was washed out, really steep drop off, and Raoul took the rut, and it was really loose in there, a lot of big rocks, and he ended up wiping out, caught his ankle. We pushed on, thinking maybe he just had a twisted ankle, but it was a little bit worse than that. And anyway, he was a real trooper. We still stayed the night out.
That is gorgeous, man.
Yeah, this is really pretty. Okay, ready? All right, here we go again. Almost to the highway.
So even at this point, Raoul had hurt his ankle and was just pushing through the pain. I can't imagine what he was feeling at this point. He was still able to shift the gear lever on the bike, but couldn't really put any weight on it. And you'll see I helped him on and off the bike a few times through the video, just because it's so tough for him to get on and off.
Trout fishing.
So we ended up in this really beautiful part of the woods. The light was really amazing, and the moss and the trees and just the green were really great. The ferns, it was just really, really beautiful riding. However, you can see by the glare on the camera just how difficult it was to see coming through here. It was the same light glancing off the helmet visor as well. It was kind of difficult riding and a little hairy in spots just because you couldn't really see that well. So at this point, it's actually getting a little late in the day. We had to skip a section, which I had ridden previously, and I knew it was scenic and a really pretty ride, but we just weren't going to have time to do it. We were actually planning on staying up on the lower Big Quilcene Trail, the campsite halfway up there, but we just weren't going to have time, so we're rushing through here, through this section, to get to our campsite, and I think we ended up arriving right around 6 p.m. So the timing was good, gave us a little bit of time to relax, and for Raoul to rest his leg before getting going on the trail the next day.
That's right. I sent you a picture of my orange bike from this spot like a while back.
Okay.
Had
That's from here?
Had the mountain.
Oh. we're gonna pick up where we start right here, and our awesome campsite that you brought us to. This is pretty amazing.
So, what was your favorite part of the day?
Oh, doing that slide, that power slide that kind of happened unexpectedly. I was like, we were coming around a turn, and I was like, we're going kind of fast, and I'm like, oh shoot, that turn's coming up pretty fast, and I kind of leaned the bike over, and that thing took off that backside, and it was just like, but it was a great feeling because it was just in control, and it was just kind of slid. But there was a second there that I thought that bike was just going, wow, and I was going down. So it rated stuff back up, and it was back on and stuff. But that was kind of fun. That trail right there was fun.
Yeah. So I guess for me, I greatly underestimated how loose and shitty that all was going to be on the first part.
At first, I was like, I thought this was single trail.
Dude, I know. Oh, well, yeah.
And I'm like, and you're like, well, we're going to go to the double trail. I'm like, motherfucker. You're going to have to edit that out. I'm like,
expletive.
I'm like, that was like, where was that double trail? I don't remember seeing that thing. I'm like, now we're going to the single trail? I'm like,
we're already on the trail.
We're already on the trail. I was like, there was cliff on both sides and there was a little bit of gravel. I'm like, okay, what am I missing here? But
I think the problem for the riding that I've done and what I assumed the entire trip was going to be is that it was like I've been groomed by the roads that we came in on just to get here.
Yeah.
Not the paved part, but like the wide gravel.
Yeah.
And you can go fast, and like the curves are pretty, they're winding curves. They're not like hairpin or anything like that.
Tight. Yeah, no, they were good.
So, I don't know. That was, I mean, honestly, that's some of the hardest riding I've ever done, really.
Right.
And like I said, like I've ridden that single track down on the lower quill scene, but at least that was hard packed. It was rocky and rooty, but it wasn't loose, rocky.
No, there was only a couple of sections I think that we found. Actually, I think it was actually coming up here, the first section that was really, really loose gravel where it got squirrely on both front and the back tire quite a bit, where I couldn't get a good line through. Yeah. But then it was short-lived and everything else was smooth. It was kind of a bunch of potholes and whoops and stuff, but that was manageable. It was pretty good.
That was kind of fun. I think on was it the second section or was it just the second half of the first one where it was like there were tons of potholes but there were whoops and stuff?
Yeah, there were some whoops and you kind of got air on a couple of them and stuff, and that was kind of cool.
I was definitely, I mean, like I said, I've been working on my wheelies and they definitely put the front end in the air.
My front end went in the air, but my ass was not falling. And that somebody's bottom out on my ass, and I'm like pancake, like slapped my. I'm like, God damn, I gotta stop riding so close to him. And so, and I was like, I was kicking myself. I was like, I did it to myself. I'm right on top of his ass, and then bam! I'm like, oh gosh.
The problem is you don't really know where you're going, so. You have to stay right on
I'm like, okay, I don't want to lose him too much and stuff, and then, the painful one, and I will say this, the painful one is when we get to highway, and you open it up on me, and I'm struggling in third gear, fourth gear, and that sumbitch is so slow coming up, it's got no power on it, and you're on your little new Kove. You're on, you're gone. And I'm like, okay, have fun, dude. I'm totally okay back here with the semi.
I thought you were just giving me some space, finally.
Yeah, you got it. Yeah, you got it. He's showing off now. But it was all good.
I had a feeling going uphill, going wide open, I was going to just walk away.
What do you mean?
Like going uphill on the highway.
Yeah.
Like I had a feeling that just weren't going to have.
Oh no! I mean, it was like I'm looking at my speedometer, and it's at 70. It's going 60, 55, and I'm like, and then you're gone. And I'm like, sucks to be me, you know. It's so bad, dude.
It's so funny.
It's like, no. It's when, like when I was following you, and this last time we were going fast, and I had to, we slowed down for a curve. Well, I had to drop gear, and then while you were there, it's so sad. I'm watching you, and you're like, you know, I'm like, I don't want to drop down. I don't want to drop down. If I do, it's gonna be freaking forever to get it back up, and then sure enough, you're like, bang, bang, bang. You're like, and I'm like, bang, bang, bang. You're like, and I'm like, bang. And I'm like, oh, here comes fourth. Here comes fifth. And then sixth. And then finally, you know, I'm catching up to you again. And then here comes another curve. Dum, dum, dum. Bring you back down. And bang, bang. I'm like, oh, man, I know this is fun for him. He's having a blast.
So you're saying maybe your rally needs a 7th gear?
I really need a new owner.
On the other side of the coin, though, I mean, can you honestly imagine taking the Africa Twin on this?
Hell no.
Yeah.
No. Not on what we just wrote. It would have been catastrophic. It's too heavy of a bike.
I think I could have made it through on the KTM, but I think I would have dropped it at least one time.
Well, the gravel, the flat gravel is no problem in it stuff. But
right.
Once you start getting into that rock and loose, where that ruts were and stuff, man, picking up that heavy Harley would have been
that section where someone got hurt. I'm not gonna say who, but
okay, all right.
that was a super sketchy spot, and I think I goaded you into it.
What do you mean?
Like I was going fast.
Well, no, we were going at a good pace, and then all of a sudden I saw where you were at, and I was right behind you, and there was.
Did you see me go left? And
I saw you go left, and there was nothing there. I'm like, there's cliff on this side, and you're on a. It looked no more than 6 inches wide, and there was deep rut on this side, and I'm like, and I don't know what I was thinking. I was like, I said, oh shit. So I thought that I just go through the rut, you know.
Right. And which I mean,
it should have worked. It should have still worked fine.
But
I mean,
maybe if you're slowing at the same time.
Because I had slowed down, but then I gave it gas, and then my boot got hung up between the bike and the rut.
Yeah.
And it just yanked my foot back. Mm-hmm. And then I'm like, oh, my foot isn't supposed to go that direction.
Yeah.
And then it went down, and I'm like, oh, God, Doc. I knew it twisted hard, but it was not fun. Yeah. But
so what was the worst part of the day then?
That.
Yeah.
I had to say that. I mean, I got a 12-inch circumference on my ankle right now.
Man, worst part of the day for me. I don't know, dude. I just felt bad leaving you in the dust all the time.
Yeah, I felt bad about you doing that too. I mean, I knew you were gonna do it. I knew you were gonna do it. I'm like, okay, well, you know, let the child have his fun. You know, one of us has got to enjoy.
Okay.
One of us has got to enjoy this trip. I'll be the old man in the back. Gotta come and help pick him up. No, I mean, well, you said that one time you almost fell and stuff, or you lost control. It was, I don't know when you said, when it was shortly after that?
Yeah, we were coming down like a really loose scramble. And I had too much speed from the get-go. And then I noticed I was trying to use my front brake more than the back brake. because I had the ABS turned off on the back brake, and so the front wheel was still doing its ABS thing while I was trying to like stop or slow down on the loose.
Right.
Like, I mean, and these were like boulders, you know.
Right.
So I wasn't slowing down even though I was holding the brake, and I didn't even think to like hit the back brake harder. I don't know what was going on, but so it felt very chaotic and out of control, but somehow I didn't. I mean, I made it through. But like for me, it's always the downhill parts that are the scariest.
Yeah.
Because it's one thing to. I mean, you can always go faster going uphill, you know.
Yeah.
But when you can't slow down going downhill, I don't know. That's when it feels out of control for me.
Yeah. I mean, I never really ran into too much of a problem losing control other than the time that the incident happened. But that was like life-changing.
Let's just call it the incident from now on.
The incident.
What if we have an incident tomorrow?
Oh, we're going to have one.
What are we going to call that one?
The last one, because my ass is going home. No. Yeah, no. I don't know. I'm wondering if I twist the other one on the right, would that make me walk straight?
So you're saying next time you fall, you just need to fall on the right
I'm just
side.
going to fall on the right, because then I'll walk straight after that.
Actually, it was weird seeing some people out in the middle of nowhere.
No, I know.
Like, there was a guy.
There was a lady walking, too.
Yeah.
She kind of waved to us. You left her in the dust.
She looked very happy. Like, when I went by her, she smiled.
Yeah.
Big smile, waved.
Yeah.
And I was like, I waved back.
Yeah.
But I was very surprised that she was like...
And she had to be eating gravel, too. Because you, like
didn't slow
made
down.
so much, and I'm like, I had to put my shield down, and then she's waving with her teeth. I'm like, oh, there's gravel in that lady's
Close
teeth.
your mouth.
Yeah, close your mouth, lady, because I got more coming. And he's like, I was like, I felt so bad. I waved just because I know you did it.
I waved. I tried to wave, but
I'm like, oh my
I
gosh.
hit a pothole at
you
the
know?
same time. So
It's like, oh man, that could not have been good. And it's like, okay,
I don't know. It looked like she was into the motorcycle thing. I don't know.
maybe, but
She wanted to see me go fast.
yeah, that's how I felt. So,
So there was that lady. There was the guy on the electric. So like the whole first route we did, I could see there was someone's tracks in front of us, like motorcycle tracks. And then it was like right as we got to the top where we started to come back down, there was a guy on the right, and he was on like an electric dirt bike or bicycle, or I couldn't really tell because I was going too fast. I didn't have time to wave.
I can't imagine. All right, dude? I can't fucking imagine. I mean, yeah, that type of speed on what you've got, it's incredible that you. I'm surprised the color in your clothes don't die. You know, just drain, they bleed. You know, just leave because you're going so fast. I mean, I think, yeah, it's.
Oh my god.
It's so messed up. But
so you
fuck you, dude.
you had to have seen the guy on the electric motorcycle then.
Well, you would think. No, I don't remember seeing no guy in electric motorcycle.
Okay, so there was that guy, and then there was the guy with the dog.
Yeah, I remember the dog with the dog.
He was in the middle of nowhere, I thought.
Yeah, he was.
I didn't even think we were close to the road or anything.
No.
I thought the lady was, like...
Further down.
Well, yeah, but I think she was...
But I didn't see a car, like, in the distance.
Well, yeah, but not much further past her, we went past a campground on the right, and I was like, oh, maybe she's just a camper, and she's just on a walk or something. But
yeah. There was
anyway.
a van that had a lady in there. I guess they were camping, or they were going to camp. But, man, if you went any further, that's where the roads got so narrow, I couldn't imagine trying to get out of there. They would have had to gone the way we came back in, but I don't know.
Yeah, there was a spot that I rode through, or we rode through, I was like, wasn't it the Subaru? I thought the Subaru was the highest one that we saw. Like the yellow Subaru, or the it looks like a truck, or it's not a Brat, it's the Baja.
Yeah.
Because like we passed her, and then I was like, we went through a section where I was like, I don't think that Subaru probably went up there and then turned around.
Anyway,
she had a super nice spot.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you had the perfect view. But
yeah,
I don't know if I would take my vehicle up there.
You have a Jeep, dude.
I don't know if I would take my vehicle up there.
Meanwhile, there's people in minivans and Subarus.
Yeah, but they don't have my luck. And also, like, I mean, I can't even go 15 miles an hour without losing the air conditioner or the heat.
That's right.
Yeah, I was like, nah. You know.
Take the top off.
This next spot kind of needs some context. Last year I was riding this section, just kind of scoping it out, and I was on my bigger bike, my KTM 950, and I came around the corner too fast, and it was sort of a downhill grade, and I was locking the back wheel up as hard as I could, and I could not get that bike to stop, and I rode right over the edge of this ravine on the bike and landed in a rhododendron bush, and fortunately came away unscathed. The bike was actually fine too, and somebody came along and helped me out, and another motorcycler, and we went down and worked our way across the forest and came out at a shallower spot a little bit further down the road. But anyway, I was just pointing this spot out to Raoul.
This is where I went off the road.
Oh, you're kidding. Oh my God, dude.
That's where the bike was.
You're lucky to be alive.
Well, yeah, if I would have hit a tree, I would have been really hurting. But I fell into all this like rhododendron and scrub tree.
Yeah.
And then, so we went down and all the way down over here. And then we came out at the curve down there. But it was a long way to get, you know, through the woods and all the shit down there. But,
I mean, you went down with the bike?
Yeah, I basically just rode it over the edge. I came around this corner just too fast, and my back brake was locked up the whole way in here.
Yeah.
And I don't know.
Dude, you're lucky. You were lucky you came out walking.
I went slower this time.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Got it?
Yeah, that's kind of a crazy 10 minutes.
God damn, dude. You know why? I still have it on that fucking avoid highway thing, I think. I don't know,
Really?
It took me a long route. Dude.
Oops.
Goddamn bee got in there.
Well, you can have them check that out when you
No, because between here and there, something else is gonna. Okay.
Is it swollen?
I can't tell. It feels stinging.
Yeah, I see a red spot right underneath your eyelid. Damn, man.
So that's sort of the end of the trip. Raoul ended up with 2 small fractures in his ankle, and I rode on to Port Angeles where I expected to meet him, but once we found out it was broken, it was kind of like, well, let's call it quits. Since I live so close in Port Townsend, I just ran over and grabbed the van really quick and came back and picked up his bike, and I took him back to Port Townsend where we got a hotel for the night, and then his wife came and picked him up the next day. So all's well that ends well. We had an awesome couple days on the trip, and I think we're planning on trying it again at some point. But what we have up next is the BDR, Washington BDR in July. So we're really looking forward to that. Hopefully Raoul's better by then. It's not too much time from now. I think that's only 6 weeks, so hopefully his leg's better, but we'll see how it goes. It's not the end of the world if we have to call it off or shorten the trip or something like that. But anyway, hope you guys liked the video, and I guess follow along for our next adventure.